we have all the receipts. I mean, we have text messages to Billy saying who I am, what my credentials are, what we were going to be talking about.
Now I see what's going on. This is an actual setup, because every time he would come back and start talking dogmatically and talking all this garbage, he would then pick up his cup and do this and give a smirk. So I saw then at that moment, I realized, oh, this is a contrived setup video to make me look like I'm some type of dummy and I don't know what I'm talking about. So they can go bragging to all their Christian buddies and friends in their cult and, oh, he didn't know the answer to these 2 questions.
He set himself up, because this isn't about a couple of gotcha game questions to show off to the Christian community or Wes Huff's Christian buddies. It's about facts, because facts matter when it comes to the conversation about God. Unfortunately, facts aren't as important to Billy as you would think they are. Watch this.
The first thing you learn in debate class is that debating is not about who's telling the truth or who's right or wrong. That's irrelevant in a debate. It means nothing. Debates are not about who's right and wrong. This is where people's misconception about what debating is all about. Debating is all about who can win an argument, okay? Bruh. And so in that particular case, he actually he appeared to have won the argument. He won the argument because he stood his ground in a way that made it seem like I was uncertain of myself. And I did become uncertain of myself, actually. But then later on to find out that everything that I said was actually 100% accurate.
No, Billy was and is completely wrong, but can't admit it because he doesn't understand this conversation. He thinks this is about winning or losing some stupid debate. You could win this debate and still end up in hell, and that's a bad win. If you're going to debate the existence of God, it needs to be about facts, not about convincing people that you're right despite the facts. The facts about God's existence aren't some consensus that we all come to. There are some stupid people out there who think stupid stuff, and we don't need them having control over what's true and false. Because some of those stupid people, wink, wink, think facts aren't important. So if you're not going to approach this conversation about God from an honest position, then what are you really trying to prove? Gotcha games aren't going to prove whether God exists or not. And now Billy's running all around the internet claiming he got bullied. But the truth is he got wrecked with facts, and his misunderstanding of history couldn't keep up.
Somebody invited you on their podcast, and there you felt...
I felt ambushed. I wasn't given a full scope of what was going on.
So you went on a podcast where they had another guest that was going to grill you.
Yeah, going to grill me. And I tried to maintain calm and peace. I tried to be respectful. I didn't snap in this situation. I kind of was a little bit in shock, and I was trying to get my word in. But the way it was being run, it wasn't a fair conversation. I felt like I was being overrun. I felt like my voice hadn't been heard. And that every time I did have something important to say, the person on the other end would have a technical difficulty. And after it happened like 5 times, I got really frustrated, and I walked out.
Just going right to it, I had here, Billy, you talk about how Jesus was never crucified. If you want to, I guess, go first, Billy, as to how you came about like the findings where it seems that Jesus was not crucified, or that's not accurate.
Sure. And in my videos, and if you listen to the podcast, the statement is according to the Sinai Bible. Okay. According to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible. That Bible predates the King James Version of the Bible. And the text there actually is about 12 to 14,000 differences between the Sinai Bible and the King James Version of the Bible, which came much later. And then also one of the things that were interesting is that they discovered the book of Jesus' wife, which is at the Harvard Seminary, which according to some scholars, it's a little controversial, but they claim that this is an accurate record that Jesus may have even been married, which then, adds more, if that's true, it adds more to the hypothesis that maybe he wasn't crucified.
Before Wes wrecks Billy, I want to point out the fact that Billy got to say everything he wanted to say without interruption, even though that's not what Billy claimed.
Wes, go ahead on for what Billy was talking about, I think with a book in the Harvard Museum, and I heard something about Jesus's wife, which yeah.
I really appreciate the fact that you seem to have investigated to a certain degree some of these facts. So when you refer to the Sinai Bible, would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus? like the codex that comes. Okay. That's why I was trying to get some clarification, because so you can actually go and see Codex Sinaiticus is at the British Library. So you can go and see it. It's on display. And the British Library has actually digitized the entire manuscript. So my curiosity is just simply in kind of exploring when you say that it denies the crucifixion or that the crucifixion isn't there. I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up the end of, say, Matthew 27, where it has Jesus being crucified. And that's in Codex Sinaiticus, or, the John 19, or any of the other ones. So I think my confusion is that it doesn't read any differently.
It would be one thing if Billy believed this trash and kept it to himself. But he's out spreading this crap around to millions of people who will believe his twisted view of history. I've spent real time in the real world with real people trying to unwind this crap because they saw Billy's trash and bought it. The crucifixion is in the Codex Sinaiticus in all 4 of the major Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The images I have had on the screen are pages from the Codex. And as you can see, it's in there. So where does Billy get this stuff?
I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
Okay, yeah. Well, so that's good. So let's deal with that too, because I've actually worked with. There are 2 manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas. The Gospel of Barnabas is a really interesting document because it is a known forgery.
How can Billy be so wrong? He quotes from a book in the Codex Sinaiticus that with just a little bit of research you can find is a forgery, while at the same time ignoring Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which all have the crucifixion in it. He hangs his entire point on a forged book while ignoring the rest of the book. It makes you wonder if Billy actually read the Codex Sinaiticus, or is he lying? Because this whole time I've been putting on the screen pages from that Codex Sinaiticus that Billy claims you can buy on Amazon, that I bought on Amazon, and put pages on here to prove that Billy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But yet he so boldly asserts things that he's so wrong about. You can't help but wonder if he's lying on purpose or if he actually believes the lies that he's selling to everyone. When someone says they read a book, but then they say things that contradict the facts found in the book, I can't help but wonder if he really read the book or if he's lying. I've always wondered how some people speak so boldly about topics that they're just so wrong about.
Let's talk about the Old Testament a little bit and leading up into the New
Well,
Testament.
hold on, because do you mind if I address the Gospel of Jesus' wife?
Billy tries to run off to the Old Testament like everyone always does to point out the mean things that God did in the Old Testament, as if that somehow disproves God. Why would anyone assume that God would be nice if they don't even believe in God to begin with, let alone the loving God of the Bible?
So the Gospel of Jesus' wife is in the Harvard Library. However, the reason we know it's also not legitimate is because even though the manuscript, the papyrus that it's on, was carbon dated to the 4th century, the text was actually copied from a PDF version of the Gospel of Thomas known as Grandin's Interlinear. And there was a mistake in the Coptic text of Grandin's Interlinear that was copied into the Gospel of Jesus' wife.
I can't help but wonder why Billy would run around talking about documents that are known forgeries other than trying to mislead people away from God. I mean, it's not hard to do actual research to find out whether these documents are real or not. But Billy isn't doing that. I mean, how can you really claim you didn't get a fair shake when it comes to this debate when you use such terrible lies as your evidence to undermine the crucifixion? I mean, he's repeating crap he hasn't done any research on but claims he has. I mean, why not just tell the truth about Jesus? There's plenty of evidence to prove he was crucified, but Billy ignores all of that to sell us some trash that is not even real and provably not real, and is now lying about what happened in the debate to cover his lies. Because let's not forget that Billy doesn't even think facts matter. It's about what he can sell you to believe.
We need to make sure that what we're saying is true. And there's a historical smell test. And I'm afraid a lot of what Billy says just does not pass the historical smell test. And that has nothing to do with him as a person.
Right.
It's not a personal attack. I think I would just implore and encourage Billy, the sources that you're using, the ways that you're analyzing evidence, they need to be verifiable.
If God is real, then this isn't some stupid debate. Christians aren't playing gotcha games. We're working with real facts here, and if you're really willing to look into the evidence, then I think you would be amazed at the amount of evidence that God is real. Guys like Billy don't really care what they say or what you believe. They only care if they get caught, and that's why this is a story, is because he got caught. He just wants to make money and be famous. But God is the most important thing in our lives, and we shouldn't leave these things in the hands of people willing to lie about facts and then lie to cover up those lies. It's lies on top of lies. Billy is out there pretending like he got bullied, but the reality is that he got smashed with facts. And there are plenty of legitimate sources for real facts about the Bible and God of the Bible. There's no need to listen to people like Billy. So if you're still with us, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, commenting or sharing. Check us out on these other platforms. There's a link to the original video in the description. Thanks for watching.